All right, welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We've got Sheikh Kadil Sulaiman Halilu here with us. He is the Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NASENI. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
Well, you were on that particular trip. Some of the images we just saw with the president, Saudi Arabia, Netherlands, and how was the trip anyways?
Yeah, it was good, tight, but it was quite good.
Okay, so what is it that NASENI, why were you included in that trip?
Well, I mean, as you know, our mandate, we are the only purposely built federal government agency that can do intervention in all areas of science and technology. And you see the different activities happening all over the world with regards to climate change, with regards to technology transfer, and that is the need where you have, a player like NASENI to participate in these trips and have a handshake with the different players and the stakeholders that were engaging in these trips.
It's interesting, just to help our viewers understand the full name, because NASENI, I was just telling Chamberlain, there are so many agencies, NASENI, SMEDAN. I think it's even in, is it a NASENI? There's another one that starts with NASENI. Do you get mixed up with another agency?
Well, I don't get mixed up.
NASEMA.
That's yes.
Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Chamber of Commerce.
There's also NASEMA, but that's a private one. Anyway, so just for our viewers to know, the NASENI is a national agency for science, engineering, and infrastructure. Is that
yeah,
it?
science and engineering infrastructure.
Okay, so just confirming that is what it is: science and engineering infrastructure.
Yeah.
So this is the agency that you man, and you've just spelled out your role. However, there's also a Ministry of Science and Technology. Under what ministry are you housed? Are you just an...
Well, so NASENI is under the presidency.
It's directly under the president.
Yes.
Has no bearing with any of the ministries.
Well, we have a collaboration. We work together. But you see, NASENI is a model copied from the Asian Tigers, where you have agencies like that do specific interventions in areas of science and technology. So we help the president accelerate some of his key, projects, or where he have, specific, interest, with little, bureaucracy, and the likes. Every country that has gone really far in terms of science and technology, they have a counterpart agency that is very similar to NASENI, especially around Asia.
So was there a particular target for this particular trip? Why NASENI had to be there?
Well, speaking on going to Den Haag, which is in the Netherlands, whenever you go out for a trip like that, it's a business trip, right? You look at for three things mainly as the federal government. Number one is to speak about existing relationship with players that are in Nigeria. For example, we have the likes of KLM. You sit down and get their feedback in terms of, their experience, what they want better, and how you can further accelerate businesses.
KLM, the airline?
Yes, KLM, the airline.
Okay.
Secondly, you need to talk about strategy realignment. You have a new administration. Over there, they might have some changes, in their strategy. How do you align the two strategies together in order to achieve a better, goal? And third, you need to seek for more. What do I mean by more? How do you get more companies coming? How do you get the ones that are already in to do more activities? And basically open up a business channel, market Nigeria more, and promise them that it's going to be better, and you are going to engage them more and make a more business-friendly environment.
So I want to know, what precisely is the president hoping to get from this trip? Because you say you intervene on behalf of the president. If the president wants to get something or get something done with regards to science and technology, that's where you come in. So what exactly is the president hoping to get from this trip to the Netherlands?
Well, I think the key thing is we want more investment in the country, which will in turn create more jobs and will also reduce the import bill. And that is, the top priorities, for Mr. President. But specifically what NASENI is doing on this trip is to help with technology transfer. We have a lot of engineers and scientists, as you are aware of. And these companies, whenever they come to Nigeria, one of the most challenging things is how to get product market fit, how to adjust things that they have worked on in their own countries to match our own environment. And we help them with that because, you see, Nigerian environment is very special and different, from other places. So you need to be able to adopt, from the marketing ways, from the product itself. It might perform well in Europe, but when you bring it to a temperate region like this, you need to domesticate it. So we have our program, which we call Accelerated Technology Transfer, where after technology transfer, we do domestication and commercialization. So it is not only telling these investors that come and invest in Nigeria, but here is a partner that you work with to help domesticate this product. So basically, we're in the same boat together.
You said we have a lot of engineers and scientists, and people will say, where precisely do we have them? Haven't they all jackpot, as the case might be? Do we have a database of these people?
Yes, I'm talking about internally in NASENI, and since I assumed my role, I haven't had anyone that has jackpot yet. We've improved working conditions in NASENI, and the same. We've been sending a lot of engineers and scientists internally, to go to these countries to learn new skills and come back and work with us. Just last week, we sent about 50 of them to Indonesia, where they're training on specific machineries that help produce fertilizer. And soon they'll be back, and I'll be glad to come here and share the results of their trip.
Okay, so is it that NASENI houses the scientists and the engineers? Is that what it does?
Yeah, they're actually staff of NASENI.
Okay, so, but how does that help the larger, science and engineering base? Because oftentimes, for a number of people have complained, especially in engineering, that Nigerians don't trust their own engineers. We've heard in the construction industry, a lot of the contracts are given to the big companies. I know that a number of them employ Nigerian engineers at the end of the day, but the real entrepreneurs are not Nigerians. Not a lot of Nigerian companies get those contracts, and they believe that is because standards are not being kept. So how does that help the larger Nigerian populace? Because I know that NASENI can only take so many engineers and scientists.
I think there are two different issues here. One is the corporate aspect of it, how organized you are as a company, and the second are the engineers. There is no doubt whether engineers, doctors, scientists, all over the world, Nigerians are known to be the best, and that cannot be changed, And even the companies you are talking about, you look at the top 10 companies in the country, I keep repeating this, most of them are local companies. That goes a lot, to say. And when it comes to adapting products to suit, this market, there are no better people to do it, than local, engineers. I agree we need to give more opportunities, to local engineers. And if you remember, one of the programs we recently did is Devt, where we promote women engineers, give them special opportunities in NASENI. And this program will continue running, on and on, for years to come. So I think what just needs to happen is we just need to encourage more. And we need to do better in terms of corporate discipline. Sometimes why we go to the foreign companies is just the fact that they're able to keep, better discipline, than the local. But you can see a lot of the local companies are coming on, coming up to speed. So I don't think it's an issue of, the engineers, but more of, the corporate discipline.
I was going to ask, look, do we actually have a strong science and engineering base, probably leveraging on the construction we see going on for the roads and several infrastructure? People, the engineers themselves think that they've been relegated to the background, that they need to take center stage much more than they are right now.
Yes, definitely, I agree. They need to take more center stage, and we've been doing our efforts, to do that. So one of the quickest things, we've done is to build a technology hub. We have it coming up, in NASENI now, and it will be ready for launch soon. And you see the new style all over the world has moved from working in isolation, to working in these hubs. And what these hubs do is it brings technology people or scientists, engineers, together with business people, so that whatever you build in the lab, can be accelerated and commercialized. And that's the only way it makes sense. And this is an opportunity for us to also showcase our own engineers. So that is our effort, with regards to that. Yes, I agree that there is room for improvement, and we'll work towards that.
Do we actually expect them to transfer technology? People steal technology. They don't just give it to you something. Does it happen that way?
Well, you have to give them a reason where they should transfer, this technology. For example, we have over 200 million people. We can't just allow our country to be dumping ground. We have to put in policies where you need to have a handshake, with the local players, and that is where local content, come into play. But outside all of that, I was in the private sector, and mainly what I was doing is bridging gap between companies that want to come into Nigeria, and companies locally. Companies outside the country, once they have a strong and good local player, they don't want to reinvent the wheel. They don't want to go through the whole hassle, because Nigeria is a whole different terrain. If you do business in Lagos, they should hand you over a PhD certificate, just by being there. It's a big opportunity for both local players, and international players, where we respect each other and understand the role that each and everyone can play.
So what was the benefit of this trip? Did we get in assurances? What's coming through for us?
Yes, definitely. On our side, we assured these companies that they have, the support of Mr. President, and the administration now is very business, friendly. He also made reference of how he was, operating in some of those sectors, and he has experienced that, and a lot of us on the trip, were also from the private sector before joining the government. So we relatively understand their challenges, and their pains, and also giving them assurance, the new direction in terms of how we're going to, collaborate. So I think the first step of solving a problem or, trying to achieve something is even the communication, to even understand each other. So that has been achieved. And the second step is, for us to come back and start working towards implementing the targets, and unlocking the different bottlenecks that, they're faced with.
I'm just a little curious as to how our, production sector also fits into this, because for a number of people, they have been very concerned about innovation. And I think that's something that NASENI is also very interested in, innovation. Yeah. Scientists and engineers should be able to solve local problems. I don't know whether their impact has been, I don't want to say they're not doing anything, or I don't want to believe that they're not doing anything, but how will we assess the impact of our local innovators and our local builders, those who are thinking of making things, coming up with new patents, et cetera, et cetera. How is that working? I mean, because some people, they think we import everything. What exactly is happening locally here?
Well, I think the exact way to measure it is, one, by the number of, jobs created in the sector, but also having a database, of how many of these researchers are able to make, to make it to the limelight. So for me, one of the things that was worrisome when I assumed this role is you hear news on Facebook that someone in Katsina made a generator, running on water, but then there is no follow-up as to what happens after that. And this is the exact reason why we have places like the hubs. In our research, we realized that some do not have product market fit. Some, they require collaboration. You see some companies, for example, Apple, you see it's a combination of a businessman and an engineer that came up together to set up a company, and then they scale it. So we can't work in isolation. And I think that is something that needs to be, thought, to a lot of scientists and engineers, that everything that doesn't end up on the commercial shelves, not just on the research shelves, is not very much welcomed, and what we want to see are products that will make an impact in the economy. So that's the whole essence where we're trying to build a whole ecosystem, from how can we source talents from secondary school. We have something coming up, but we'll break the news, once the time is ready. How do you, at the local government level, be able to attract talents, and bring them to the hub, make them partner, with commercial people or economists or business lawyers and the likes, and fine-tune their products? And how can you take them to one of our institutes to build prototypes, for these products and ensure that it's product market fit? And then how do you take it to the market? Because the new strategy in NASENI is we need everything to be of commercial value. We just don't want to do research and keep dumping them on the shelves, or just celebrating, a prototype and then go back to sleep or go and look for a new project that needs to be done. At the end of the day, we want projects that have economic value so that the average Nigerian will feel it.
Is there any standout product right now on the perhaps shelf of NASENI that the country should be excited coming through?
Well, you're aware we recently launched 3 products: our solar keke napep, our solar home irrigation system, and also our solar home system. You see the whole issue about the heat wave we're trying to break through, and I'm happy to say that all these products have been sold in advance. Constantly, I have one of the ministers calling me to tell me that, Khalil, please, I need just one, of this. I want to put it on my farm. We're talking about the solar irrigation system. So we're happy to see that one of the projects that was on shelf quickly put into the market and has been outsold. And we're putting efforts to see how, we can stock up more of these products and how we can even seed out these technologies so that it's not only NASENI that is producing, but other players within the industry are producing the same products and are able to sell it all across.
All right. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Well, Mr. Halilu, first of all, let me begin by saying that between you and Mark, maybe we need to enter that word jackpot into the English dictionary. Hopefully they will accept it. But one of the things that gives me a little bit of concern is infrastructure. I'm glad that the last letter in the name of your organization, I, stands for infrastructure. And, when we look at the infrastructure gap in the country, it's quite huge. Excuse me, as a matter of fact, experts say that Nigeria needs something in the region of $100 billion and $150 billion annually over the next 30 years for us to close the infrastructure gap a little. And as of 2020, the gaps in critical infrastructure constraining the economy is said to require something in the region of $3 trillion over the next 30 years. That's according to Moody's. How does NASENI, I know that this is probably just a segment of this that concerns your organization, but how does NASENI hope to contribute to closing this gap? In what specific ways? How does it help the young people stay in the country and not jackpot, as you say?
Well, so there are 3 things here. First of all, NASENI is coming up with creative technologies. We know the cost of building infrastructure is high, but how can we come up with creative technologies that will reduce this cost? Leveraging, of course, on the natural resources that we have as a country. Secondly, how do we influence policies, that will further accelerate the development of this infrastructure, as well as reduce the cost of, developing this infrastructure while leveraging on private financing, for some of this infrastructure. If you are talking about the likes of fiber optics infrastructure, how do you work together with, for example, the Ministry of Science and Technology or the Ministry of Digital Economy to bring in players that will accelerate the development of this infrastructure? And on the issue of JAPA that you're talking about, how do we give local players opportunity that is better than wherever they are going? I assure you that some of these people that are doing JAPA, they will rather, stay here closer to their family if they are given better opportunities. So how do we, in the midst of developing this infrastructure, give them opportunities where they can further, their development, where they can earn a good living, so that they don't have to leave the country. So these are the 3, interventions that we do in terms of infrastructural development, as well as reducing the impact of brain drain, aka JAPA.
Yeah, well, that leads me to this question. I know it's not something that the federal government can do alone, and I know that your organization partners with states in one way or the other at different levels. I'm aware that you're coming up with some kind of agriculture development institute in one state in the north. Talk to us about collaboration with states and how they directly, or how you directly work with them so that the people within their communities, the indigenes of the states, can benefit directly from your activities, directly or indirectly from your activities at NASENI?
Yeah. Well, with regards to states, there are big stakeholders in NASENI. As you are aware, we don't like operating outside the local context, even within Nigeria. So there's a new program that we call it Leverage Technology Transfer, under our Accelerated Technology Transfer. And the whole idea is, rather than working in isolation or the state doing something differently and wasting resources, how do we harmonize our resources together to work on a particular project? With regards to our Agricultural Development Institute, it has been in existence, but rather than keeping it just closed to government, to federal government, we are opening it up to state government as well as private sector. And this is the exact activity that we're doing in Nasarawa, with the state governor, where is a tripartite arrangement between NASENI, the state government, and a local company doing agricultural equipment, production. So we saw this company has been operating in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt, but a lot of the market that they're selling this equipment is in Nasarawa. And the governor said, you know what, you have to come and invest in my state so that we'll continue to patronize and give you business. But even better, you can work together with NASENI so that you can fine-tune, your equipment to adapt to the conditions in the state, as well as leverage on the existing infrastructure that NASENI has already built. So rather than them starting to build new warehouses, new factories, we already have these things in place. How can they come and work, within that environment to reduce time for go-to-market time? So this is the project that we're working on in Nasarawa State.
Well, a lot of these hubs, which you talk about, investment, boosting the sector, well, I don't know if you've ever come across people who say, look, yes, government can always go there looking for investors, but they will look in here and see how are the local investors here coping. There are huge challenges for manufacturers. They're complaining time and again about what needs to be done. And when they see that, wait a minute, if they've not sorted this challenge, what makes us think that they will address ours? Or are we paying attention to them and ignoring the problems, the challenges that need to be addressed back home here for everything to thrive?
Well, where there are challenges, there are opportunities, It's like Lagos. They said, nobody to go Lagos, not to come back. They will tell you Lagos is hard, but nobody will tell you, there is money, in Lagos. So I believe challenges are, part of the journey, but our role is to ease up, and to reduce those challenges. And exactly where we have our Accelerated Technology Transfer Program. Yes, there are challenges, but we're in the same boat, together with you. And I don't think there is better confidence that you get from the federal government than saying that this company you are trying to invest, we're going to counterpart fund it, and we're going to be together with you.
That's the one that NASENI gets involved in?
Yes. Because
how long would you counterpart fund it?
Well, depending on the business and depending on the negotiation, Okay. But we have cases, we don't invest majority, but we have cases where business that aligns, with our roles or with our vision, and it has impact in science and tech. We put in money there and basically selling the player that we are together with you, in this journey. There's no better commitment than putting in money. We're having our staff, we're doing research together, we're looking for market together. And some of these products, they are branded NASENI, So we have our brand name, to protect, which is also a national brand. So it's the same hit that the private sector is receiving, we're receiving it. And constantly, because of our proximity with Mr. President, we keep telling and keep making the same demands, And this new strategy has been comforting for a lot of the players, that we are working with. Every single time now you see companies queuing, to partner with NASENI because they know you're in the same boat. They know you're not speaking, they're not speaking alien language, to you because you really understand the problems at hand.
I hope they know that without power, some of these things will be difficult to sustain. and without ensuring that some of this key infrastructure and the tax people breathing down your neck when you haven't even done anything. So there's a lot that needs to happen at the same time to ensure that these businesses thrive. A good thing you're coming from the private sector, sure, you understand a lot of this, and hopefully they also understand and do the right things, probably. Well, we have to thank you for coming on. Sheikh Khalil Sulaiman Halilu is the Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer for NASENI. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, back in just a moment. Don't go away.